How's it going, everyone? The Packers are bringing another top 30 visit, and this time it's going to be a cornerback out of East Carolina University and Shavon Revel Jr. So to start off, Revel Jr. did lose most of his 2024 season at East Carolina University due to an injury. He played in 3 games, and then during practice, I believe it was on a Wednesday, he ended up tearing his ACL on a freak injury at practice and was lost for the entire season. Despite that, he still comes into this year's draft as the 5th best ranked cornerback in this year's draft and currently 39th overall. So despite the ACL tear and losing his final year, he showed a lot in his junior year to where he still has pretty high draft stock. And he was actually kind of projected going into his final season as potentially the 2nd best ranked cornerback. So to start off with what we can talk about Shavon Revel Jr. He didn't participate at the combine due to the fact he is recovering from an ACL injury. But he comes in at a height of 6'2" and weighs 194 pounds. The closest that we kind of have to maybe a 40-yard time or combine stats is back when he was actually trying out those walk-in tryouts for East Carolina University. And to even further kind of note about this tryout before he was offered a scholarship, he was working overnight after a 10-hour shift with Amazon and apparently decided to wait for his dad, who also worked at Amazon, in the car to get a couple of hours before they drove 2.5 hours to this tryout. And at this tryout, he blew the scouts away, ended up running a 40-yard time of 4.4 seconds, had a broad jump of 11 feet and a vertical leap of 39 inches. After that performance on running out on like 2 hours of sleep, not even a full 8 hours of sleep, after a long work day, overnight driving 2.5 hours, he still performed to this capacity, and East Carolina ended up offering him a scholarship. So that's probably the closest we have to his potential measurables, which is pretty darn amazing, especially considering he wasn't even fully rested for this event. So for his time at the collegiate level, he played in 3 years, starting in 2022 as a walk-on. And in that first year, he played in 9 games and had 8 combined tackles, and that was all. In his second year, when he finally got the starting job and started pretty much his best year, he played in 12 games, had 54 combined tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 1 interceptions, and 13 pass defended. And then in his final year, in just the 3 games he played, he had 8 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, already 2 picks, and 2 pass defended. It was kind of shocking to some scouts that he even had 2 picks in 3 games, considering they figured teams would not want to throw in his direction. Well, they did, and then he proceeded to pick them off. Over on the PFF side, for his grades, for his first year, like I said, only had 25 total snaps, so didn't really play much. So we're going to bypass that. But in his 2023 season, where he played 651 total snaps, 80.5 defensive grade, 78.7 run defensive grade, and an 83.5 coverage grade. And then in his final year before the injury, 84 defensive grade, 70 run defensive grade, and an 85.4 coverage grade, and pretty much just blanketed receivers. He allowed a 45.2 reception percentage in his 2023 season, and then a 38.1 receiving percentage in his final year before going down with injury. So what are some of the pros for Revel Jr.? Well, he has great length with a filled out frame. He uses his length to his advantage in press and does a good job in getting his hands on and disrupting routes at the line of scrimmage. Very good straight line speed, gets to top speed quickly and easily carries receivers deep, shows the necessary recovery speed to catch up and close ground with the ball in the air. Good overall athlete with ball skills and body control, sinks hips well for his size and quickly transitions. Also shows the ability to push receivers off the line as he works downfield. And as for some of the cons for him, slightly below average ball skills, struggles to catch with hands, and has missed the opportunity to capitalize on additional turnovers. Average eye discipline in zone coverage, can lose threats in underneath coverage due to staring at the quarterback, and fights against pad level as it can get too high and cause him to leak extra steps out of the breaks. And from some of the videos that I was watching of him, like, he does make plays, but there were some very easy plays where he should have picked off the quarterback. He should have a lot more interceptions based off what I saw, and he just didn't reel it in, whether it was just a focus interception to where, like, hit him in the chest and he just dropped it, or he just mistimed his jump at times and didn't peek the ball. But it does seem to coincide with having slightly below average ball skills, so he does need to improve on that. And so Shavon Revel Jr., he's projected to go in the second round. He could potentially drop to the Packers in the second round. And the Packers are probably bringing him in, trying to figure out and see how he is inside with their doctors, how he's recovering from that ACL injury. There were tweets from Ryan Fowler that shown that his rehab is coming along pretty good and that he's already up to 21 miles per hour on the treadmill. So definitely getting a lot of that speed back, if not most or all of it, and that he remains on track to be fully cleared for the summer. And for the Packers, I do actually see Revel Jr. could be a very welcome addition to this Packers defensive group. We still don't really know what's going on with the defensive back group, what's going on with mainly Jair Alexander, and the talks that they're having behind closed doors. It seems like the market for not just Jair, but for defensive backs is not really there, and the Packers aren't really ready to just or willing to trade Jair for pretty much peanuts. They'll suck it up, hold him onto the team, and who knows what will happen after that. Hopefully he doesn't become a locker room presence, or maybe he sticks with the team because he was just practicing with Xavier McKinney in the offseason. But we don't really know what's going on with Jair. So this could, depending on what's going on with that situation, play a part on if they decide if Shavon Revel Jr. does drop to round 2, if they pick him. Now, if he somehow drops to round 3, then I would definitely pull the trigger and pick Revel Jr. He's got all the athletic traits right there. He's long, he's tall, he's very aggressive, and he's a pretty good corner from what I was watching. And unfortunately just had a freak injury and where he tore his ACL. Now, if you're to kind of go further back into his history in high school, then you might get a little bit more scared about pulling the trigger a little bit earlier because he did have some slight injury concerns in high school. And that's why he didn't sign with a college at the start of his collegiate career and had to walk on and try out for East Carolina due to his injury history in high school and also because his grades sucked terribly at high school. So essentially when they offered him a scholarship, they said, you have to get your grades up and then you'll be fine. If not, then you're gone. And obviously he did do that. And currently I do think right now that cornerback is probably still a top 2 need that we need to fill. Yes, we signed a cornerback in free agency. And well, this is on the assumption that Jair won't be with the team. If Jair's with the team, then that need drops significantly, in my opinion, considering we would have Keyshawn Nixon, Jair, and in the newly signed cornerback in Nate Hobbs. So if we have Jair, Keyshawn, and Nate Hobbs, then probably corner definitely drops significantly to not much of a pressing need. But if Jair is gone, I still think it's a pressing need for us. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.